The US government is quietly planning to stockpile my favorite cryptocurrency. And no, it's not Bitcoin, right? I'm talking about Cardano's ADA. And when I dug into why Uncle Sam wants a stash of the same crypto that I hold, I was just not ready for what I found. Now, I'm not just another crypto YouTuber, I am actually an ADA investor and a former analyst who loves reading all of this stuff. So when the news broke that the US government might actually hold Cardano in a national crypto stockpile, I had questions on top of questions. Is ADA about to become sound money? And what does the government know that, well, we don't? Now, as someone who's run a Cardano stake pool and even bought into a wild new Cardano-related project, I've got a personal stake in this. Now today, I want to take you on a journey through the twists and the turns of this story, from a high-level government plan all the way down to a hands-on crypto experiment that I am doing right here in my office. Now, grab a comfy seat, because this is going to be one of those stories that you won't believe until you hear it all the way through. Now, before we get into it, here's a quick heads up. If you do enjoy digging into these kind of topics, then you should join our free educational Discord server. The link is in the description. Now, it's a great place to chat with me and a whole bunch of crypto's community enthusiasts. And yes, we talk about everything from ADA news to the crazy experiments like the one that I'm about to share with you guys. All right, let's get back to the story. So, imagine my surprise then when I read that Trump's administration wants to create a strategic Bitcoin reserve and a broader digital asset stockpile featuring several cryptos, including Cardano. And that's right. The United States government basically said, we want to hold ADA in our vaults alongside Bitcoin. Now, as an ADA holder, my first reaction was, wait, what? For years, I've watched people on Twitter call Cardano a ghost chain, or say that it's just too slow, and now the US government is essentially validating it. Now, it kind of felt like stopping, at least I should say, stepping into an alternate universe where everyone suddenly, at least everywhere I should say, suddenly my crypto isn't just a little kind of crypto's community's obsession. It's actually a potential national strategic asset. Now, of course, not everyone is convinced, right? Critics came out of the woodwork like they usually do, questioning why on earth ADA? Is Cardano even sound money? And honestly, I had a little bit of that skeptic voice in my head too. But then Charles Hoskinson, Cardano's founder, jumped into the conversation with some solid points. He basically said, look, Cardano and Bitcoin have something in common, a capped supply. Now, both operate under deflationary models, and Cardano's real superpower, according to Hoskinson, is its resilience of an ecosystem. The translation is that this network is built like a tank. Okay, let's think about it then. Cardano has been running for 8 years straight with zero downtime, something that Solana can't say, and not a single major security breach either. So 8 long years. Now in crypto time, that is a kind of like a century. It's fully decentralized with millions of users around the world keeping it alive. Now I know this firsthand because I actually run one of those thousands of independent Cardano stake pools that power the network. But here's a shameless plug. My pool's ticker is CHEEK, C-H-E-E-K. So that if you do hold some ADA and you want to support the channel while earning passive rewards, then you can stake with the CHEEK pool. It's basically mining ADA the Cardano way. There's no fancy hardware needed and there's no lockup periods either. So, Hoskinson's argument is that this rock-solid stability and decentralization are exactly why big players are finally taking Cardano seriously. And apparently, he's right. He said those qualities got ADA on Uncle Sam's stockpile list, and even institutional investors are starting to see Cardano as a blue-chip crypto now. So, hearing that felt pretty validating. I mean, here I am, a guy who's been betting on ADA for years, and now the government and Wall Street suits might be quietly nodding in agreement. It's kind of plot twist, I guess, that makes you sit up just a little bit straighter. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, because there is a catch, right? The government saying that they want to stockpile ADA is one thing. How they're actually going to do it is a whole nother story. So trust me, it's a little bit of a mystery. Now, according to the executive order that announced the plan, they're not planning to spend new taxpayer money on crypto. Instead, they're going to use assets seized from criminals or fund, or kind of like fraud cases and fund it that way. Basically, if the US Marshals snag an ill-gotten Bitcoin, well, it might end up in the strategic reserve rather than being auctioned off like the good old days. Here's where it gets interesting though. Apparently the government already has a giant crypto goodie bag from all of those seizures. Now, I looked into the data from, Arkham Intelligence, and the United States government's crypto wallet actually holds over $24.6 billion worth of various different cryptocurrencies. And yes, that was billion with a B. Now, this is kind of like a dragon's hoard of golden and digital gold, right? But guess what? None of it is ADA. So at least not yet. So what they do have is roughly $360 million sitting in stablecoins. And that has people speculating. Maybe the government could take some of those stablecoins and swap them for ADA to build this stockpile. It sounds a little crazy, like, is the US government going to market buy ADA on Coinbase? Well, probably not exactly like that. But the idea is that they have the funds in crypto already, so a conversion is, well, on the table. Will they actually pull the trigger on converting stablecoins to ADA? Well, nobody really knows. The government moves slower than a snail on tranquilizers, so I'm not holding my breath. Now, it might be months or years before we see how all of this plays out. And it raises even more questions, right? If they start holding ADA, what does that mean? Are they going to secure it themselves? Or are they going to delegate it to some custodian? Will they stake it, maybe to the cheeky pool? Right? Imagine the US government earning staking rewards. Pretty wild, right? Now, as an ADA fan, part of me is excited at the legitimacy that this does bring. And another part of me is a bit cautious, because governments don't exactly have a kind of spotless record when it comes to handling new technology effectively. Now, this might just shock you, but I'm not a financial advisor, and nothing in this video is financial advice. Cryptocurrencies are highly volatile, and you could lose all of the money that you invest. You should always do your own research and consult a qualified professional. After all, your investments are entirely your responsibility, and you should know that nothing is ever guaranteed when it comes to investing. Neither I, this channel, nor YouTube are liable for any losses, and this video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Also, one more quick disclosure while we're at it. Any crypto exchange linked in the description down below, the likes of Kraken, Blowfin, BitGet, etc., those are affiliate links. So if you do sign up to them, trade through them, then it does help support the channel here at no extra cost. You've got to keep things really transparent these days, the FTC rules and all of that. All right, let's shift from the halls of government to something a bit more grassroots and hands-on. Now, while all of this ADA reserve talk was swirling, I kind of stumbled onto a project in the Cardano universe that I have to tell you all about. It is called Unity, and it might be one of the craziest ways to actually earn crypto that I've ever tried. In fact, I was so intrigued that I went out and bought one of the Unity node NFTs, which came with 200 licenses myself. So, what is a Unity node? Well, in simple terms, it lets you turn your regular smartphones into little crypto earning machines as part of a decentralized telecoms network. I'm not even kidding. This thing combines blockchain with mobile phone networks. Now, the idea is that by running an app on your phone and making verification calls, you help check the health of the global telecoms grid. It's like you're a tiny cell tower tester, and for doing that, you actually earn crypto rewards. Now, the cool part is that you can choose what crypto that you want rewards in. BTC, Ethereum, Cardano's ADA, and maybe even others like XRP or SUI, right? You already know which one that I picked, right? I'm taking my rewards in ADA, of course. Now, when I say I bought a Unity node NFT, here's what it actually means. I paid $5,000 for a package that includes the node itself and 200 licenses. Now, that $5,000 can be paid in cryptocurrency assets as well, by the way. Anyway, essentially, I get to connect up 200 phones to this network. Now, when I explained this to my family, why I was trying to get and hoard as many smartphones as I can, they kind of just shook their heads, like not another day in crypto, right? Now, I'm not about to set up 200 phones on day one. My electric bill would probably be through the roof, and I would probably get called all sorts of different things by my family. But I am gearing up a little test. I'm going to set up a small fleet of 10 phones right here on the desk once the Unity app goes live. Why 10 phones? Well, I want to see if this actually works and how much ADA I can earn before I start scaling or go all in. Now, it's a kind of pilot run, if you will, like dipping my toes in the water before cannonballing into the deep end. And if the test goes well, you can bet that I'm going to scale it up. The idea of having potentially 200 phones in my apartment here, or maybe spread out, quietly mining ADA, or technically earning ADA by verifying phone calls, is both ridiculous and fascinating, right? It almost sounds like a sci-fi subplot, right? The guy turns his home into a mobile telecoms node farm just to earn crypto. Now, when I told a friend about this plan, he kind of laughed and called me a mad scientist. Maybe he's right, but hey, every mad scientist needs his lab, right? And mine just happens to be full of phones. Now, this is real, it genuinely is, right? And it shows just how far crypto world has come. Now, we're not going no longer just trading coins or just holding for the long term. We're actually blending crypto into real world infrastructure. So, how does this Unity node adventure tie back to Cardano and the US government story? Well, to me, it's all about, at least a part of, the much bigger picture of Cardano's growing ecosystem. Now, the same stability and forward-thinking design that made Cardano attractive enough for a government reserve is actually enabling projects like Unity. Now, World Mobile, the company behind Unity, along with its sister company Minutes Network, is built on Cardano tech. I mean, it's actually multi-chain at this point, right? It has the World Mobile chain, it's on the Cardano chain, the base chain, and so forth, which means that ADA is getting real utility beyond just a store of value or sound money. So when people like me choose to get rewards in Unity, Unity rewards paid in ADA, I should say, and then we go ahead and stake them to the stake pool, it creates a little kind of vicious cycle, right? More ADA usage, more network activity, more staking, and a stronger network overall, right? It's exactly the kind of grassroots value in the long run could make ADA even more appealing to the much bigger players. And speaking of the community, I can't forget how regular ADA holders are actually reacting. Now, in our Discord, some people are saying that this feels like vindication for all of the time that Cardano was underestimated. And it's kind of like the world is finally actually waking up to see, what we've seen in Cardano all along. The vibe is cautious excitement. There's no ones throwing a party just yet, but you can sense the optimism in the air. Now, I do have to admit that something kind of poetic about all of this, right? At least this moment. I started out as an ADA investor simply because I believed in the technology and the mission. I sat through the ups and the downs, the memes calling it a ghost chain, the slow and the steady development progress. I even, took a leap to run the stake pool and get involved more directly. And now I'm literally testing out a new network that merges crypto with telecoms. All while the US government is eyeing the very same cryptocurrency that I am accumulating. Now, it kind of feels like we're at a crossroads, right? Where Cardano is shaking, off the kind of naysayers and proving itself in multiple arenas all at once. So, is Cardano sound money? The jury's still out on the technical definition, but in my book, it's sounding pretty darn solid right now. When a cryptocurrency can get the United States government's attention and simultaneously inspire innovative projects on the ground, that is a pretty big deal. It means that Cardano's ADA is doing something right, whether it's being rock steady, reliable, or flexible enough to power real-world solutions. So, my takeaway from all of this? Don't underestimate the tortoise in a world full of hares. Right? Cardano might have been slower out of the gate, but that careful approach is starting to pay off in credibility. Now, as an ADA holder, I'm excited, but I'm also staying realistic. Right? We still have to see how the government actually implements this reserve, and whether Unity and the nodes and licenses are maybe even various different ventures actually succeed. But for the first time in a rather long time, it feels like the wind is at our backs, and I'm here for it, researching, experimenting, and sharing every step of the way. So guys, check out the link to Unity in the description down below, smash the like button, hit subscribe for more crypto adventures, and I will see you in the next one.